A human lit a Christmas tree for a crying alien girl. Unaware, the Queen Mother saw everything. The interstellar station called Helios Ring floated quietly between stars, a giant circle of metal and light where hundreds of species met to talk, trade, and sometimes argue. It was built to feel neutral, clean, and efficient. But during this cycle, it felt cold in a way that metal alone could not explain. For humans, it was December. Most species on the station did not care about Earth calendars. Time was measured in rotations, cycles, or biological needs. But for the small human population living in their assigned sector, this time of year always felt heavy. They missed home. They missed noise, warmth, and familiar traditions. The station lights dimmed slightly to save energy, and the long corridors echoed with soft mechanical hums. In one of the upper observation wings, far from the busy diplomatic halls, a small figure sat curled near a wide window. She was not human. The alien girl was small for her species, with smooth silver-blue skin and delicate wings folded tightly against her back. Her large eyes reflected the stars outside, filled with tears she did not know how to stop. She wore fine ceremonial clothing, far too formal for someone her age, and a small royal crest rested near her collar. She tried to be quiet. She had been taught that crying was weakness, especially for someone of her bloodline. But the loneliness pressed down on her chest, and the strange station felt endless and empty. She missed her world. She missed the warm light of her home hive palace, the gentle hum of shared thoughts, the way her attendants used to sing low harmonic songs when she could not sleep. Here, there was only silence and cold glass. A soft sound echoed down the corridor. Footsteps. The girl quickly wiped her eyes and turned her face away, hoping whoever it was would pass by. Royal children were not meant to be seen like this, but the footsteps slowed. The human maintenance officer had been checking a faulty panel when he noticed the small shape by the window. He was tall compared to her, broad-shouldered, wearing a worn uniform with grease stains that never fully washed out. His name was Elias Carter, and he had been on Helios Ring for almost 3 years. He had learned many things about alien cultures. One important lesson was this: sudden movement scared most of them, so he stopped a few steps away. He did not speak at first. The girl sensed him anyway. She tensed, wings twitching slightly. "I'm not here to cause trouble," Elias said gently. His voice was low and calm, the way one spoke to frightened animals or children. "I was just fixing something nearby." She did not answer. Elias crouched down slowly, lowering himself so he was closer to her eye level but not invading her space. Humans had learned that towering over others made them uncomfortable. "It's a nice view," he continued, nodding toward the stars. "Not the same as a real sky, but it helps sometimes." Still no response. He noticed the way her shoulders shook just a little too much, the way her hands clenched her clothing. This was not someone just resting. "You don't have to talk," he said. "I can sit here for a minute if that's okay." The girl hesitated. Protocol told her to leave, to summon guards, to maintain dignity. But something in the human's posture felt different. He was not demanding attention. He was simply present. She gave a tiny nod. Elias sat down on the cold floor, leaning against the wall. They watched the stars in silence. Minutes passed. Then a small, broken sound escaped the girl's throat. She froze, ashamed. Elias pretended not to notice. "Back on my world," he said quietly. "There's a time of year when the nights are long and cold. People feel lonely a lot, even grown-ups." She glanced at him, surprised. "We do something special during that time," he continued. "It doesn't fix everything, but it makes things feel warmer for a while." Her curiosity won over her sadness just a little. "What thing?" she asked softly, her voice strange and musical to human ears. Elias smiled, though there was a touch of sadness in it. "It's called Christmas." She tilted her head. "Is it a ritual of power?" He chuckled softly. "No, not really. It's more about kindness and light. Light. That word mattered to her species more than most. "I might have something I can show you," Elias said, "if you want. If not, that's okay too." She hesitated again, then nodded slowly. Elias stood and held out his hand, not touching her, just offering guidance. After a moment, she took a careful step toward him. Her hand was warm despite the cold station air. They walked through quieter corridors, away from the observation wing. Few noticed them. Fewer cared. They stopped at a sealed storage room near the human living quarters. Elias tapped in a code, and the door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside was a collection of old human items. Boxes labeled in faded marker. Decorations saved from Earth shipments long ago. Things no one else wanted. Elias reached into the corner and pulled out a tall, artificial tree. Its green branches were slightly bent, and a few needles were missing. "This," he said, "is a Christmas tree." The girl stared at it. "It is a plant." "Sort of," he replied. "A copy of one anyway." He set it upright and plugged in a small power unit. Then he opened another box and pulled out strands of lights. As he worked, the girl watched silently. Something about the careful way he handled the old decorations made her chest feel tight. When he finally switched the lights on, the room filled with soft colors: gold, blue, red, and green. The light reflected off the metal walls, warming the space in a way the station never managed. The girl gasped. The lights were not harsh like most station illumination. They were gentle, alive. Elias dimmed the overhead lights so only the tree glowed. "On Earth," he said, "people gather around this, families, friends, even strangers sometimes." The girl stepped closer, mesmerized. She reached out and touched one of the ornaments. It was smooth and cool. Her tears stopped without her noticing. Somewhere beyond the storage room, behind a translucent observation barrier hidden from normal sight, another figure stood watching. The Queen Mother of the Aurelian Empire had followed the signal of her daughter's distress. She had expected threats, insults, or weakness to exploit. Instead, she saw a human kneeling beside her child, offering light without command. Her wings remained perfectly still as she observed. The human did not bow, did not kneel in fear, did not even know she was there. He only smiled as the young princess laughed softly for the first time since leaving home. The Queen Mother narrowed her ancient eyes. This small act, she realized, was more dangerous than any weapon. And the human had no idea what he had just begun. The soft lights of the tree continued to glow, filling the small storage room with gentle colors. For a long moment, no one spoke. The station outside still hummed with machines and distant voices, but inside that room, time felt slower. The alien girl moved closer to the tree. Her wings relaxed, opening just a little, catching the colored light along their thin veins. She had never seen light like this before. On her home world, light was used for work, for signaling, for control. It was never playful, never kind. "What do the colors mean?" she asked quietly. Elias thought for a moment. "Different things to different people," he said. "Some say green is life, red is love, gold is hope, blue is peace." She touched a blue light again, watching it glow against her skin. "Your people give meaning to light," she said, "not orders." "Yeah," Elias replied, "I guess we do." She looked up at him, her large eyes serious. "Why would you do this for me?" He shrugged slightly, uncomfortable. "You looked like you needed it." That answer confused her more than anything else. In her empire, nothing was done without reason. Kindness was measured, planned, and often used as a tool. But this human had no plan, no demand, no expectation. Outside the room, the Queen Mother continued to watch through the hidden barrier. She saw every movement, every expression. Her mind, trained by centuries of rule, searched for deception, but she found none. The human did not know who the child was. He did not know the weight of her bloodline or the power she would one day hold. He saw only a lonely child. That disturbed the Queen Mother deeply. The girl circled the tree slowly, her fingers brushing the branches. On my world, she said, children of the royal line are taught to observe, not to feel. Feelings cause errors. Elias frowned. That sounds heavy. It is, she replied honestly. Crying is corrected. Laughter is controlled. Well, Elias said gently, on Earth we think feelings are part of being strong. You can't protect others if you forget how to care. She stopped walking and looked at him. Is that why your species fights so fiercely? He nodded slowly. Sometimes. We fight hardest for people we love. That idea settled into her mind like a seed. A soft chime echoed through the corridor outside the storage room. Someone was approaching. The girl stiffened instantly. Her wings snapped back into place, posture straight, face calm. In one breath, she became a royal again. Elias noticed the change. Hey, it's okay, he said. We don't have to stay if you don't want to. Before she could answer, the door slid open. Two station officials stood there, their eyes widening at the sight of the tree and the glowing room. One of them, a tall reptilian diplomat, tilted his head in confusion. What is this unauthorized setup? He demanded. The girl took a step back, fear flickering in her eyes. Elias moved slightly in front of her without thinking. Just a decoration, he said calmly. No harm done. The reptilian's gaze sharpened. This area is not approved for personal displays. It's temporary, Elias replied. I'll remove it if needed. The official looked past him, noticing the girl's crest. His posture changed instantly. He lowered his head in respect. My apologies, he said stiffly. We did not realize. The girl raised her hand slightly, copying a gesture she had seen her mother use. It is acceptable, she said, her voice steady. You may leave. The officials exchanged looks, then backed away quickly. The door slid shut again. The girl exhaled slowly. Her wings trembled. You didn't have to stand in front of me, she said. Elias smiled faintly. Felt right, she studied him. You would risk punishment for a stranger. Wouldn't be the first time, he said lightly. Somewhere behind the barrier, the Queen Mother's claws tightened. As time passed, more beings wandered near the human quarters, drawn by unfamiliar light. Some paused, curious. Others whispered. A few watched silently from a distance. The tree became a quiet center of attention. The girl sat cross-legged on the floor near the tree, her earlier sadness replaced by calm curiosity. Elias told her simple stories about Earth, snow falling softly, warm drinks shared between cold hands, families gathering even when they disagreed. Your world sounds chaotic, she said. It is, Elias agreed. But it's ours. She smiled again, small and careful, as if afraid the moment would break. Hours later, when the station cycle shifted toward rest, a low hum filled the air. The lights dimmed further. The girl knew she would be called back soon. I must go, she said quietly. Elias nodded. Yeah. I figured. She hesitated, then reached into her sleeve and pulled out a small crystal token. It glowed faintly with her empire's light. She placed it beside the tree. For warmth, she said, so the light does not feel alone. Elias felt something tighten in his chest. Thank you. She paused at the door, looking back one last time. Will the tree stay? For as long as I can keep it, he replied. She left. The room felt emptier without her, but the tree still glowed. The Queen Mother stepped out from behind the barrier at last. Her presence filled the room like gravity itself. Elias turned, startled, and froze when he saw her. Every instinct screamed danger. He dropped to one knee immediately, head bowed. The Queen Mother studied him silently. You are human, she said. Yes, Elias replied. Maintenance division. You altered station protocol, she said. Yes. You interfered with a royal child, she continued. Elias swallowed. I didn't know who she was, I just didn't want her to be alone. Silence stretched. The Queen Mother walked slowly around the tree, examining it. The lights reflected in her ancient eyes. This object, she said, has no strategic value. No, Elias agreed. No political purpose. No. And yet, she said, it changed my daughter's emotional state in ways our finest mind guides could not. Elias dared to look up slightly. Sometimes small things matter. The Queen Mother stopped in front of him. Your species is feared, she said. You burn worlds when threatened. You refuse to kneel. Elias met her gaze, now steady but respectful. We also light trees for kids who are sad. For a long moment the Queen Mother said nothing. Then she turned away. The tree will remain, she ordered, for this cycle. Elias blinked. Thank you, Your Majesty. She paused at the doorway. Know this, human, she said. Empires do not change easily. I know, Elias replied. She left. Alone again, Elias sat beside the glowing tree, unaware that the smallest act of kindness had begun to bend the path of empires. The tree stayed. During the next station cycle, the lights were still glowing when Elias returned for his shift. He expected security to have removed it overnight, or for an official notice to be waiting for him. But the storage room door opened just as he had left it, and the soft colors spilled out into the hallway. Word spread quickly. Not through official channels, but the way rumors always moved on Helios Ring, quietly from one species to another, carried by curiosity instead of orders. Beings who had never spoken to humans before slowed their steps when they passed the room. Some stopped. Some watched from far away. A few stepped inside and stood silently, unsure why they felt calmer there. No one touched the tree. They did not need to. Elias noticed the changes before anyone else made them official. Arguments in nearby corridors ended faster. Raised voices softened. Even the station's background noise seemed less sharp, less tense. The human quarters became a place people drifted toward without fully understanding why. High above the station, in a private observation chamber layered with shielding and ancient symbols, the Queen Mother watched everything. She had ruled for over 4 centuries. She had overseen wars that erased stars from maps. She had crushed rebellions before they learned how to speak. She understood power better than any living being on Helios Ring, and yet this confused her. The human had not asked permission, had not negotiated, had not offered tribute. He had simply acted. That kind of behavior was dangerous. The Queen Mother summoned her advisors. They gathered around her, tall and sharp-featured, wings folded tightly, eyes glowing faintly with internal light. Their voices overlapped in harmonic tones as they spoke of risks and influence. The human spreads emotional instability. The child's behavior has already shifted. This could weaken traditional control structures. The Queen Mother raised one claw and silence fell. My daughter slept peacefully, she said, for the first time since leaving our world. No one argued with that. Down on the station level, the alien girl returned. She did not arrive with guards this time. She slipped away during a formal gathering, her attendants distracted by diplomatic rituals. Her heart beat fast as she moved through the corridors, guided by memory rather than direction. When she reached the human sector and saw the soft glow ahead, her wings fluttered with relief. Elias was adjusting one of the lights when he heard her quiet footsteps. You came back, he said, smiling. I was not forbidden, she replied carefully, so I came. She sat near the tree again, folding her legs beneath her. This time she did not look like she was trying to disappear. She looked curious, alert. I have been observing, she said. Other species come here. They do not speak, but they stay. Yeah, Elias said. Humans do that too. Sometimes you just need a place where nothing is demanded of you. She considered that. On my world, she said slowly, every space has purpose. Every gathering has rank. This space feels open. That's kind of the point, Elias replied. She leaned closer to the tree, lowering her voice. My tutors say humans are unpredictable, that your kindness is only another form of strategy. Elias snorted softly. If this is a strategy, it's a bad one. I'm probably going to get in trouble. She looked at him seriously. You are not afraid. Oh, I'm afraid, he said honestly, just not enough to stop. That answer stayed with her. As cycles passed, the station council took notice. Diplomats from multiple empires requested explanations. Some demanded the tree's removal, claiming emotional manipulation. Others argued it improved morale and reduced conflict. The council was split. The Queen Mother listened from her elevated position, saying nothing. Then, during one particularly tense session, an incident occurred. A trade negotiation between two long hostile species collapsed into shouting. Security moved in. Weapons were nearly drawn. The alien girl, watching from a side gallery, felt panic rise in her chest. The station felt suddenly small and sharp again. Before anyone could stop her, she left her seat. She ran. She ran through corridors and lifts, past startled guards, toward the one place that felt safe. When the arguing diplomats reached the point of no return, the station lights flickered. A signal had been triggered. Security sealed off sections of Helios Ring, including the human sector. Elias heard the alarms and cursed under his breath. He shut down a panel and turned toward the storage room, then froze. The girl stood in the doorway, breathing hard, eyes wide. "You shouldn't be here," he said immediately. "I know," she replied, "but I was afraid." The words felt heavy in the air. Before Elias could respond, armored figures filled the corridor. Station security, diplomatic guards, and behind them, moving with calm authority, the Queen Mother herself. The hallway fell silent. Elias stepped in front of the girl without thinking, spreading his arms slightly. "She didn't do anything wrong," he said. Gasps echoed from nearby onlookers. No one stood between the Queen Mother and her subject. No one. The Queen Mother stopped a few steps away. Her gaze moved from the human to the tree glowing behind him to her daughter peeking out from his shadow. "You ran," the Queen Mother said to the girl. "Yes," the girl replied, her voice shaking but clear. "I chose to." The Queen Mother turned back to Elias. "You encourage defiance." "I encourage choice," Elias said quietly. That word sent a ripple through the gathered crowd. Choice was not something most empires valued. The Queen Mother's wings lifted slightly, a sign of deep emotion she rarely allowed herself to show. "You interfere with ancient systems," she said. "You weaken structure." Elias met her gaze. "Or maybe," he said carefully, "we help people breathe inside them." The Queen Mother looked at her daughter. The girl stepped forward on her own this time. "Mother," she said, "when I was afraid, the tree did not command me. The human did not command me. They allowed me to feel safe." Her wings trembled. "I want our people to know this feeling." Silence fell like a held breath. The Queen Mother could feel hundreds of eyes watching her. Empires waited on her reaction. This was how wars began. Instead, she raised one claw. "All units stand down," she commanded. Weapons lowered. Alarms ceased. She approached the tree slowly, then did something no one expected. She sat. The Queen Mother of the Aurelian Empire lowered herself to the floor beside a human maintenance officer and a glowing artificial tree. "What is this ritual called again?" she asked. "Christmas," Elias said softly. She studied the lights. "It is inefficient," he smiled faintly. "Most good things are." For the first time in centuries, the Queen Mother allowed herself to remain still without planning her next move. And across Helios Ring, something old and rigid began to loosen, not because of force, but because a human had lit a tree and refused to let a child cry alone. The station did not return to normal after that day. Helios Ring had seen wars begin and treaties fail, but it had never seen what followed next. The Queen Mother remained seated beside the glowing tree longer than anyone expected. No guards moved. No orders were given. The diplomats who had been shouting earlier stood in stunned silence, unsure how to react. Elias sat very still, afraid that even breathing too loudly might break the moment. The alien girl sat between them, close to the tree, her wings relaxed in a way they had never been during any public appearance. She felt warmth spreading through her chest, not from the lights, but from the strange safety of the space itself. "This feeling," the Queen Mother said slowly, "is unfamiliar." "It's supposed to be," Elias replied gently. "That's kind of the point." The Queen Mother looked at him, really looked at him. He was not impressive by galactic standards. No armor, no symbols of rank. Just a tired human with rough hands and honest eyes. You knew none of this would benefit you, she said. Elias nodded. Yes, your majesty. And you did it anyway. Yes. The Queen Mother stood. Everyone stiffened, expecting judgment. Instead, she turned to the gathered guards and diplomats. This space, she announced, is now protected. Murmurs spread instantly. The human tradition known as Christmas, she continued, will be observed here for the remainder of this cycle. Shock rippled across the station network within minutes. A ruling empire had just approved a foreign emotional ritual. Elias blinked. Thank you." The Queen Mother inclined her head slightly. "You may continue your duties." With that she left, her guards following in perfect silence. The girl stayed. In the cycles that followed, the tree became something more than decoration. Other humans brought small items, handmade ornaments, paper stars, old photos from Earth. They explained their meanings to curious aliens who asked careful questions. Some did not understand at all, but they stayed anyway. The station council officially listed the space as a neutral emotional zone, a phrase no one had used before. Conflict incidents near the human sector dropped sharply. Negotiations held nearby ended faster with fewer threats. No one could explain why. The alien girl returned often. Sometimes she spoke with Elias. Sometimes she simply sat quietly, watching the lights. She began asking questions about Earth customs, about families, about why humans sang when they were sad. Elias answered all of them. "You humans allow children to speak freely," she said one day. "Most of the time," he replied. "We don't always listen as well as we should, though." She thought about that. "I would like to learn." Her lessons changed after that. The Queen Mother ordered new tutors, ones who observed human learning styles. The girl was encouraged to ask questions. At first it felt wrong, like stepping without permission. But slowly she grew more confident. She laughed more, and the Queen Mother noticed. Privately, she reviewed centuries of rulings and wars. She compared them to a single human act that had reshaped behavior across a station without force or fear. It unsettled her. When the cycle ended, the Queen Mother made another decision. A message was sent across the Aurelian Empire. For the first time in their history, a cultural exchange was announced not around technology or defense, but around emotional practices. Human delegates were invited. The galaxy reacted with disbelief. Some empires mocked the idea. Others watched carefully. Elias was summoned. He stood in a vast chamber before the Queen Mother, feeling very small. "You will represent your people," she said. Elias swallowed. "I'm not a diplomat." "You are honest," she replied. "That is rarer." The alien girl stood beside her mother, no longer hiding behind formality. She smiled at Elias. "I told her you light stars," she said proudly. Elias smiled back, unsure what to say. Across the galaxy, humans gained a new reputation. Not conquerors, not monsters, but something far more unsettling. They were known as the species that changed others without demanding submission, the species that sat beside children, the species that brought light where none was required. Years later, Helios Ring would install a permanent tree, not artificial this time, but grown from bioengineered life, glowing softly with shared symbols from dozens of worlds. It would be called the First Light. The alien girl would grow into a queen who ruled differently, allowing emotion alongside strength. She would credit her change not to prophecy or fate, but to one quiet human who refused to walk past a crying child. And Elias Carter would return to his maintenance work, never fully understanding why history remembered him. But the Queen Mother would. She would remember that no fleet had ever frightened her the way a human's kindness had, because weapons could be resisted. But warmth spread.